Hey guys, it's time for this month's So You Like, my monthly recommendation series where I take a piece of media that I've enjoyed in the past month or so, spin out what's enjoyable about it, then use those things to recommend some things that you might enjoy if you, like me, enjoyed it. This month's piece of media is Stranger Things, the 4th season of which just came out in the last month or so. It came out at the start of June, and then the second bit of it, which was basically a movie-length 2 episodes, came out at the start of this month. It's got all sorts of stuff in it. It's got teenagers being really competent and adults being less so. It's got a lot of horror elements, which I don't really touch on as much, but it's got 80s nostalgia. It's got all sorts of stuff to do with just psychic powers and all sorts of weird stuff going on in small-town America. The first thing that I want to recommend to you, based on Stranger Things, is Lost in Space, the most recent incarnation of this franchise, which, when I did So You Like on Lost in Space, I went for, you know, Stranger Things was one that I recommended for that. I'm going to return this favour again. Basically, they are along the same lines, except Lost in Space is very much one family in a sci-fi setting, but this is multiple families in one small town dealing with magic-y horror, psychic power stuff. The two of them have very similar plot structures. They've also, very importantly, got a young man called Will who's having to deal with stuff that he shouldn't be having to deal with. Like, they're both really cool series. Lost in Space has probably got just less acclaim than it should have done, but still very good. Next thing that I'm going to recommend to you based on Stranger Things is Paper Girls. Now, this is a graphic novel series. I believe, however, they are getting their own TV show relatively soon, which I didn't know about until I saw a trailer just the other day, and basically these fit together really nicely. They're very much both couched in 80s nostalgia in a lot of ways. Paper Girls does a lot of stuff. It's set slightly later on in the 80s than Stranger Things is, but it's catching up, and like Paper Girls really does a lot with like time travel, basically. It's got people traveling back and forwards in time, meeting future selves and stuff, and it's entirely stuff that could go on in Stranger Things if they decided to give 11 more powers than they already have, which I wouldn't be surprised if they do. The plot is also very much centered around teenagers exploring who they are and being very competent compared to all of the adults surrounding them, except the very few actual adults that they have to deal with in a lot of ways. It's interesting. The next thing that I want to recommend to you based on Stranger Things is Alice Isn't Dead. This podcast and accompanying book both really capture travelling, looking for a missing person, and just small town America in general. I have never gotten around to finishing this because when I first started listening to it, I was listening to it a lot while driving, and the unfortunate fact about it is that there's a lot of stuff to do with driving, and there was a bit where I literally had to be like, actually, I need to stop listening to this while driving because there was Foley work about crashing cars, and I'm like, I can't afford this. I can't afford to be having this on while I'm driving. It's not good for me be doing that. So I stopped, and then I have never gotten around to actually listening to it anymore, but it really does capture a lot of the same sort of horror, looking for someone that's gone missing and a weird mythical manner, and small town America. It just really captures the same vibe in a lot of ways. The next thing that I want to recommend to you based on Stranger Things is The Adventure Zone Amnesty. I'm pretty sure I've done this before, but The Adventure Zone Amnesty, similarly to Stranger Things and Alice Isn't Dead, it really captures small town America and weird mystical goings on and other dimensions and stuff that are encroaching on the Earth dimension or whatever, and it really works very well for that, and it's real good. It's also the McElroys doing weird, funny shit, as they always do in Adventure Zone. What's not to love? And it's an RPG show, which also ties in with Stranger Things in that really gave a resurgence to D&D and RPGs in general. And the last thing that I want to recommend to you based on Stranger Things is Lovecraft Country, which is a book which has also had a TV series made out of it relatively recently, in the last couple of years, where it captures small town America and horror elements, and my god, does it do that in a similar way to Stranger Things. Except, here's the rub with Lovecraft Country, is the eldritch horrors are less horrifying than the fact that the entire thing is just so racist. There's so much stuff that it's dealing very directly with racism in a massive way. The eldritch horrors are incidental, and it's just about the fact that these black folks are having to deal with these really racist white folks that are wanting to do all of this weird eldritch horror shit, and not having any concern for anyone else. And like, it just really plays into it in a similar way. It's got a very similar vibe to Stranger Things in a lot of ways, and I highly recommend it. It's very good. So those are the things that I would most recommend to you based on Stranger Things. I think that there's a good batch of them. I really feel like there should be a board game or a video game, but if there is one, I can't think of it. So next time, I guess. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of my recommendations. Anything good there? Anything that I could have been doing better? I'd love to know, so tell me down there. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you remember to like and share it and subscribe to my channel. Click on the thumbnails over there to see other videos by me, click on the link in the description down below to join my Discord, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!